Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. Today, Ramya and I will be talking about body image and self-growth. Before we get into this conversation, I just want to put a disclaimer out there that we will be talking on our own personal experiences, our journey, and our own thoughts and opinions behind this. We're nowhere near professionals. We're basically just sharing our opinions and thoughts and how it's affected us in our lives. Ramya, you have joined us today on camera. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Today I don't really have a lot of junk food with me, so it was easier making the decision to be on cam.
If you haven't watched my last video, be sure to check it out. In there, Ramya was off camera eating chocolate turtles.
I was. But today is a good subject, Sarah, because we're talking about body image. And as you said, for our personal experiences on how body image has affected our self growth. And it's a loaded question, right? There's so many things to get to, and years of experience, young years, teenage years, and young adult years to where we are now in our late 20s. So I thought we could maybe open it up with first memories. It's a hard one, but first memories of conflict in self-image. And I don't want to define that question. I want to let both of us take it wherever we want to go. What are your thoughts when it comes to early memories, first memories of a conflict between yourself and yourself when it came to self-image?
So I think the first time that I can recall was around my pre-teen teenage years with the vision that I do have, just kind of paying attention of the circles and surroundings that I was in and how girls were dressing or looking, when there's dinner and things like that, how much girls would be eating. So I think that's when I started paying a little bit attention to it. Not only that, I was always the tallest one in my family. So I was getting a lot of comparison around, my height. And I think that also kind of led me to be like, well, I don't want to be the tallest person. I don't want to be taller than everybody else.
And it immediately spun into, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, so, shout at me, but like it immediately turned into a negative connotation, it sounds like to me, because you're seeing how people are portraying you, as a tall young woman, and you're saying, I don't want to be known as that person, the tallest one in the group. I'm super short. I'm 5'0", and that's shorter than average height for most people. So I was the opposite end, where people are like, oh, you're so cute, you're so short. And that was anywhere from like grade 6 to present day. I've become less and less offended, to be honest, but it's something that has always been like, yep, here we go again with the short jokes. Or when you're hanging out with a bunch of tall people, I'm going to be the shortest one in there. It's a unique one, I think, because we're not immediately going to like fat shaming or body shaming when it comes to weight. We're going to height.
Yeah, and I think that before I even started paying attention of like my body, and like I'm told now, like I have a model figure in a way, because I'm more, have a smaller upper torso and like long legs. So even buying jeans and stuff like that, or just pants, my mom had a hard time always buying pants for me because I was just long legs.
Yeah, and I'm down to go there too when it comes to shopping, particularly. Like we can talk about all kinds of external influences for how you think about yourself and your own self-image, and shopping is a huge one, because there was always this standing joke in my family that I could get shoes from the kids section, I could get jeans from the kids section, I can get literally my entire outfit from the kids section. Or the other thing was, I didn't have to get rid of clothes in my closet because I never outgrow them. So it was funny, like it actually was, and I always took part in the jokes, and I'm like, guys, I don't have to do spring cleaning, like my clothes all fit still. But then there's this other side where I'm like, but where do I find professional clothes? Like nothing fits me. Everything is too big, and petite stuff is too small. But I'm curious, Sarah, would you say the influences were more external or internal when it came to how you felt about your self-image?
I believe it started off externally. At the end of the day, I have low vision. I was trying to fit in and make friends. And if that meant I needed to be dressing a certain way or being observant of like how everybody else are, from that is stemmed to a little bit more internal, where I started really paying attention of like the things that I was putting on my body, how I looked or how I felt I was looking. Because I don't know, Ramya, with you, but it's just like in school or just around, it's, there's always this like toxic positivity or even negativity just around like how your physical appearance is portrayed. Friends are kind of based on that.
Yeah, 100%. I think that people, we all have, and I don't want to say people as in it's other people and not me, we all have our own biases on how we'd like to look versus how we do look. Right? So, I'd rather have straight hair because my hair is so curly and so hard to deal with. I'd rather be taller because I'm so short and shopping is ridiculous for me. Or, a lot of things, right? Or for my height, this is not the ideal weight for me. There's even science behind or a healthy weight or all these different guidelines for us. And guidelines one thing and pressure the other thing. So there's all these different ways in which we're supposed to look and what's supposed to be healthy body image and healthy portrayal of body image and stuff like that. And obviously there's a whole different section on how that's changed over the year, evolved over the years, etc. But I think that one big thing that was and that is difficult for a lot of people is talking about it. And it's great to use platforms to talk about it, but also when you're going through it, you're talking about preteen, Sarah. So you're 11, 12, 13, going through some of this stuff, going through hormone changes, going through teen years and going into high school and all this stuff. And to not have people that you feel comfortable talking to or thinking that you're alone in it is a really tough pill to swallow, because I think that a lot of us are going through it and just not talking about it. So did you start to open up with people like in your actual support group or in your circle about how you were feeling about body image?
No, at first I didn't think it was really an issue. And I want to just, backtrack a little bit on what you just said. Also when, you look at magazines or when you're in like, health class and you're talking about different types of body type, like, there's like an apple shape or a pear shape. And then you start to compare yourself, like what body shape, am I? And for me, I think one thing was that, okay, well, I'm tall. So if I try to control how much my body, maybe I will shrink. I don't know, that sounds really weird in some ways, but I think back then, like, that was just my thing. Or it's like, I was always told, oh, you have wide hips, you have childbearing hips. I don't want to be that person. I want to be like all the other girls that are out there. But to go back to your question, Ramya, no, I unfortunately I didn't speak to anybody about it at that time. I don't want to get too much into it, but I will just say eating became a really big part of, not in a good way, but it really affected me in a negative way. And since I felt there was a lot of things in my preteen, teenager, early 20s were out of my control, I just felt like this was one way of being in control. It's not the best way, but it's just, it started off as being portrayed one way and wanting to fit in and being very self-conscious of how I looked, and one thing just led to another.
Yeah, the control part is so huge because I feel that I've always had a pretty open relationship with food. It was never eating that made me feel like it was something that I needed to change because I love food so much, but there were so many other things like why can't I exercise like everybody else? Why can't I find the habit or the discipline? Oh, that was a big one, right? Why can't I be disciplined like everybody else? Whenever I see athletes, it would be so big in my head that I look this way because I can't seem to find the discipline that other people have, and we'd start
Yeah.
saying like this is the reason why I don't look like this, and it's so difficult to stomach that kind of stuff. And now I'm saying hindsight not because I'm much better or something like that, but I have to say that I've become much more confident and started to take some of the things that I've went through in the past and spin it so that the story of my body image and the story of my acceptance for my body has become something completely different than what it was when I was 15, 16, 17. And I think it's huge. Maybe some of you watching are not there yet. Maybe your story is still pretty personal and private, and you haven't talked to people about it or shared even with yourself. But Sarah, I don't know how you feel, but I think it's really important to start spinning the story of how you feel about your body. We're not going to get this perfect point. of what our body is supposed to look like, in air quotes.
For sure. And I think it's like really important to really come to like a self acceptance to even help with your self growth and for you to be a more confident individual. The stereotype is only women struggle with body image, but it's not true. Like men, women, everyone struggles with this to some degree for various reasons. I've had a personal experience with an actual eating disorder, and I've been in that shoe. Therefore, I can understand someone that is going through this right now. It's really hard to speak up about it. It's very hard to talk to people about it because you're always going to feel that you are not sick enough, you're not thin enough, you're not where you think you're going to be, but it's never too late to get help. The fact that you recognize it's an issue, that's when you need to reach out. To be honest, Ramya, I am still working on my self-growth and my self-confidence and my body image. For someone that has had a eating disorder or someone that struggles with any sort of disordered eating or body image from a really young age, I think sometimes it can be a lifetime of dealing with this, and it's something that just doesn't go away overnight. So it's a constant battle. It's a constant thing you're dealing day in and day out. As long as you have the right tools and support system now to help you through it. And I still have days where I underestimate or undermine myself and how I portray myself and how others portray me.
Well, Sarah, it's progress. Like it's always going to be progress no matter where you are in your journey, and having known you for so long, I have to say I'm really proud of how far you've come in terms of sharing as well, and just being able to put yourself out there to help other people in a lot of different things, but especially in this area. So thank you for sharing, and also thank you for inviting me to this conversation. It's so important and it's so emotional.
Thank you, Ramya. Until next time.
Thanks for watching, everyone. Be sure to check out Katie Morton. I'll leave her YouTube link down below. Be sure to check her out. She is a licensed marriage therapist, put out so much amazing content around mental health, disordered eating. She has definitely helped me in my own journey as well. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Stay tuned.